welcome everyone to The Verdict. I'm Talon Jones.
I'm Bartee.
And I'm Kala Benson.
On this episode of The Verdict, we'll be looking at our favorite comfort shows, such as Futurama, Everybody Hates Chris, and a series of unfortunate events. Get comfy and enjoy. If there's one thing that's always there for us, it's comfort shows. Whether we need to cope with a difficult situation or something to play in the background. They're there when we need them, and they never let us down. And for me, it's Futurama. Futurama is an American animated sitcom released from the Fox network from 1999 to 2003 and Comedy Central from 2008 till 2013. Here's a little trailer for the show.
In the future, life will be precious.
Please select mode of death, quick and painless, or slow and horrible.
Yeah, I'd like to place a collect call.
You have selected slow and horrible.
Good choice.
From the creator of The Simpsons,
Bring it on, baby.
comes Futurama.
Kill me already! By the way, my name's Bender.
Series premiere Sunday, March 28th on Fox.
You are now dead.
Right off the bat, this is honestly one of my favorite shows of all time, and I always put it on as background noise. And I recommend a few episodes for you guys, and what'd you think?
I liked the episode where Fry switches his hands with the devil.
The robot devil, to be exact.
Yeah, the robot devil.
Yes.
What about you, Alan?
I really enjoyed it. I especially loved the music and what they were able to do with the visuals and everything, and how they actually showed for instance what he was actually feeling. Of course, it would never happen in real life, but it's a nice thought. Futurama is also that show that I always watch on Adult Swim.
Yes,
growing
it was
up,
on Adult Swim for a while.
And that was the first time I ever saw Futurama. But the thing is, I didn't even know it was even the same creators behind The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Because, don't kill me, because I never watched The Simpsons growing up. I played The Simpsons video game, but I never actually watched The Exorcist itself. And I don't know, I really enjoyed it growing up. I know it's not for kids and they have more adult humor, but we'll have
Kids
show.
watch it anyway.
Yeah, even watch it every day. And I don't know, it's one of those shows where I guess you could watch it as a kid in a way, because you could take out the more adult suggestive jokes.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a suicide booth in literally the first episode.
Oh
Yeah.
But who are we kidding? We watched this stuff as kids. Actually, I didn't like the show as a kid. I honestly hated it. And even when I was in middle school, I loved Family Guy. I thought it was the height of comedy, and I would scoff at Futurama.
Yeah.
And that was when they were releasing the new seasons on Comedy Central. But I don't know, as I grew older, I realized it has aged extraordinarily well. Even the animation, the first few episodes, they really hold up. Mm-hmm. And the show's writing is second to none. I recommended a couple of the more dramatic and sad episodes to you guys. My favorite being Jurassic Bark, where Fry's trying to bring back to life his dog. What did you guys think of that episode?
It's I always cry at the end, of course. Growing up, I had a dog and everything. Her name was Duchess, and watching the episode, it made me miss her sometimes. Just the memories of me being a kid and everything. I don't know, and it's just those things where if somebody said, "Oh, animation, they won't make me cry," then I was like, "Okay, then what's this?"
Yeah, this episode's always the go-to for that. What did you think of the episode?
I mean, I liked the episode. I thought it was kind of ironic that at the end, Fry was I've learned how to live without him, and then he's probably learned how to live without me because he was there for 12 years, but it reveals that he was actually waiting the entire time.
Oh, that always got me.
Because I think Fry actually told him to wait or something.
Yeah, he told him to wait till he gets back, and he literally sat there for over a decade waiting for Fry to come home.
Yeah, and the scene, I think it kind of adds to because Fry's a stupid character. When the dog literally leads the parents to him, and they're like, we'll find Fry from outside or something.
Yeah, and he's literally right there.
Yeah.
I should probably elaborate. Fry is the main character of the show, and he's from the year 1999. And in the beginning of the show, he was frozen and accidentally wakes up in the year 3000. So that's the main premise of the show. And some of the characters that we see, like Bender and Leela, Dr. Hubert Farnsworth, who's actually Fry's distant nephew. They bring so much life to the show, and even the friendship between Fry and Bender really does make it, especially because Bender's a robot who hates humanity. Like, he constantly talks about destroying humans, but he loves Fry. In several episodes, he almost destroyed humanity, but he went back on it because he didn't want to hurt Fry. So it's just something like that. It's so dark, but so beautiful at the same time. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean the relationship I really do like between Bender and Fry. They kind of start out a little rocky, where you don't know if Bender, because to me, like Bender started out as very like this very, I guess, not as bombastic as he is in later episodes. He's very pulled back.
It was a pilot, so.
Oh yeah, and I think for a pilot, it did really establish like even the show surprisingly does have a connected storyline throughout.
Oh, it does.
I mean, you have like the Leela storyline where I'm not gonna spoil it, but she thinks she's something, but then it turns out she's something else. Then you have like the whole Fry coming to realization that because in the pilot he was first excited because it showed out like, hey, he wasn't having the best days, and we assumed that, oh yeah, he doesn't really care about his family and everything. His family hates him. His girlfriend isn't all that. But then when it comes to the future, he's all excited, like, yeah, I'm in the future. But then at the end, he has a realization that, wow, everyone's gone and I won't see them again.
Yeah, he does actually miss a lot of his family members, and they touch up on that a lot throughout the show. And it's just a fantastic, well-written show, and one that I really appreciate. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So next time when we come back after this break, we're going to talk about my favorite comfort show.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro.
So the comfort show that we're going to talk about next is Everybody Hates Chris. Let's look at the trailer.
Remember at the beginning of the school year when I said I wanted things to be different?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, everything I didn't want to have happen, happened.
It hasn't been all bad.
I started writing my first special in a locker.
So for everybody who hasn't seen Everybody Hates Chris, pretty much it's kind of this inspiration, quote unquote, physical, like retelling of Chris Rock's like past and everything through his childhood. They talk about like his mother, his father, and his siblings. And basically it goes throughout his daily life, in his household, dealing with his family. He also deals with stuff in the school. And like legit growing up, this was like my favorite show because the first time I actually heard of it and watched it was on Nick at Night. And at first, it was like, it showed that scene like Rochelle busting in Chris' room, being like, clear up the toilet seat, what you doing, boy? Like all that kind of stuff. And I was like, what is this show? What is this? And watching it, like for me growing up, as a black kid, I really saw my parents and my family in it. Like every time Rochelle got mad, I saw my mama. I always saw my dad, and Chris's father. The only sibling I had growing up was like my brother. Like I was like the kid of the family, so I can relate to Chris being the big brother. But like legit, like this was really like the shows that really like related to me that I was growing up watching.
Honestly, I remember watching it on Nick at Night as well, and I really enjoyed it. In fact, I didn't even really think about the show much until you brought it up in this episode. But all these memories and some of my favorite moments and episodes just started flooding back to me. It was actually really surreal.
Oh yeah, and what I really love about this show is that Chris Rock is constantly like talking throughout, saying these like jokes and everything. And the thing is, like when I first started the show and watched it, I didn't know. Like I know it was Chris Rock's voice because like I watched stuff like Madagascar and stuff, so I knew his voice, but I didn't know it was like a retelling of like his childhood.
A very loose retelling.
Yeah, very loose retelling because I think he has like more than siblings.
Yeah, he has like 5 siblings in real life, I think.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm pretty sure most stuff that happened to him probably didn't really happen, but it's getting the gist.
You say that, but he did talk about how because he was the only black kid that growing up in his school, that he was like legit bullied and stuff. I know they make like comedy out of it because they have that one teacher who constantly think that Chris and his family are on poverty, and Chris like has like multiple dads, like no, like his like there's like many dads, and that they're poor even though Chris's mom and dad own an apartment building and are the landlords.
Yeah, they actually are. They're landlords. He's the guy who runs the funeral home. What was his name again?
I forgot his name.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's like he would always be like, tragic.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And so the episode that I recommend to you guys was the episode where they had to, go to like on a train to go to a funeral and everything. But they actually don't go to the funeral in this episode. We just see them like all the shenanigans on the train.
They were too late.
And pretty much the gist of it is that they try to get everything together. They got what was it like Chris's uncle coming into town.
I think so.
Yeah, and they're trying to like get everything together. Like Rochelle's like, okay, here's some money. Like we're splitting it between like all of us. But Chris starts gambling and everything, and there's some shenanigans. And so, what do you guys think about it?
That was a great episode. What do you think?
I liked the episode, and I liked the scene. I don't know like what they said like word for word, but when it was like the narrator, he said like once you make a mistake, you have to at least get one parent on your side or something. Yep. So he goes and tells his dad what happens, and his dad's like, all right, I'll try to fix this. And then he gambles. I think I now that I'm like 21, that same thing happened to me.
Really?
Yeah, because I went to the casino with my parents, and I wasted all my money. So I went to my dad and was like, hey, I wasted all my money. He's like, all right, let's try to win some back. And then he wasted his money, so we both had to go to my mom and be like, hey.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had those moments, where I do something or my dad does something, and then it's like, let's not tell mama, all that kind of stuff.
Keep that secret.
Yeah.
You recommended actually what was one of my favorite episodes, Everybody Hates the Babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that episode because it really showed the responsibility that Chris has to go through, and it had probably the best ending of the show, where nothing bad happens to Chris. That very rarely happens because there's always some repercussion for him. And in a few episodes like this one, no, he did the right thing and nothing bad happened to him. So it was a great episode.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was like one episode in the later seasons where Chris started to backtalk to his mom, and then it got out of hand, and then he decided to run away, and it's all that kind of stuff.
I hated the ending of that one because I'm like, I thought Chris was right.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, I'm looking at it as how I grew up, and if I ever did that to my mama, how she would react. And it's like one of those things where, because I see so much my mama in Rochelle, I'm like, yeah, like even, look, I have those moments where it is frustrating, but I know at the same time, look, I live in this house, I ain't paying rent, I better shut my mouth.
Yeah, in the episode Everybody Hates Malvo, that had one of my favorite characters in the show, and that was Doc. That's Chris's boss in his convenience store. He's honestly one of my favorite characters in the show because he acts as a really great mentor for Chris, and I'm really glad we got to see him in one of the 3 episodes we watched for the show. And honestly, the show's fantastic. I'm glad you recommended it.
Oh, yeah.
I completely forgot about it until you recommended it.
Yeah, because when I was thinking about like comfort shows, I'm like, okay, what's a really comfort show that I do really remember growing up? And it was like one of those. And the funny thing was, I was going to mention like the Bill Cosby show, but like, you know what? I don't feel like it.
No, let's hold off on that.
Yeah. But getting to like more of the characters, I really do love Chris's dad and everything because it reminds me of my dad, and I don't know, it's like that's just like very special to me personally,
Same. I really liked the dad character as well because, like when I grew up, my parents also had like 2 jobs and stuff, so I kind of related to that. And my dad is like the same kind of like way where he's like, I don't need to spend $20 or something, So I don't know. I think that all the characters are very relatable.
All right, well, that's enough of my show, and now we're going to take a time break to jump into her show.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
One of my favorite comfort shows is the series Unfortunate Events, a 2017 mystery series starring Neil Patrick Harris as Count Olaf as he tries to steal the Baudelaire's fortune. The show has many ups and many more downs, alongside the unique editing used to retell the famous Lemony Snicket stories.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies.
Violet, Klaus, and Sonny were intelligent children. Most everything that happened to them was rife with misfortune and despair.
Your parents have perished in a terrible fire. Perished means killed.
We know what perished means.
Hello, 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 children. I am Count Olaf, your new guardian. Do you know what this is?
It looks like a list.
Wrong! It's a list. A list of chores.
We know you're just trying to steal our parents' fortune.
We have to get out of this wretched place.
Go back in the house.
Where it's safer and strangers can't get you.
Strangers? Where? The Baudelaire children will be destroyed.
What?
When the sand runs out, that fortune is mine. I didn't realize the sand went so quickly. I bought it online. You're gonna need to flip it a couple of times.
Your parents and I...
We used to develop our own secret codes.
Our parents developed secret codes.
In my library, you will find all the answers that you need.
Let's get to work. Something strange is going on.
What's that?
Something my parents had.
It looks like the tattoo Count Olaf has on his ankle.
Really?
My name is Captain Shaft.
This man is really Count Olaf in disguise.
Aren't you smart?
Wherever you go, I will hunt you down.
Why do you hate us so much?
Because it's fun.
We are setting out on a very top secret expedition. What do you say, Baudelaire? Are you in?
I'm taking you to prison.
Well, good luck with that. I'm armed.
So am I.
Child's play.
Adorable.
Is that a harpoon?
So for those who don't know, a series of unfortunate events is basically the story is Violet, Sonny, and Klaus Baudelaire. Their parents die in a fire, so they end up going to their closest living relative. My bad. And that happens to be Count Olaf. But basically, Count Olaf is trying to get the Baudelaire fortune before Violet turns 18 years old. At the beginning, she's 14, and then by the end of the 3 seasons, she's 16. And then, like, spoiler alert, he doesn't get the fortune because by the end of the 3rd season, he dies. But so basically, like, it's like the name says, a series of unfortunate events where they go through different, like, families, and they end up, like, being ruined by Count Olaf, if that makes sense. So what did you guys think about it?
Well, I was a big fan of the original movie starring Jim Carrey that came out in the early 2000s. Sadly, that never got any sequels, so I was actually really excited for the TV show because I never got around to reading a lot of the books except for maybe the first one as a kid. So the show is, like, honestly like a godsend because I was like, I wanted to know what happened to the Baudelaires. So I really do enjoy the show a lot.
I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't actually watch the original movie that came out back in the early 2000s. I actually, the first time I actually heard of a series of unfortunate events was I was actually watching the SpongeBob SquarePants movie DVD, and you know how they play the trailers at the beginning of, like, before you start the movie, and then you play, like, a series of unfortunate events. I'm like, what is it? This looks crazy, but I never watched it.
Yeah, series of unfortunate events, the original movie and the show, it has a very dark and very depressing kind of undertone. But the show tried to play it more for laughs, I guess more like the book did, whereas the movie tried to have a balance between drama and comedy. So in that regard, I do enjoy the movie a little more, but that doesn't take away my love for the show. and Neil Patrick Harris' performance as Count Olaf was honestly hilarious. I thought Carey did a better job with the scariness of Count Olaf from the book, but Harris had the comedy down, and he was great.
Yeah, that, and he looks like exactly like the book character. Like when I saw it, I was like, they matched it pretty good.
Plus, you could just tell he was having the time of his life on
Yeah.
sets, and that's always amazing when you see an actor having fun with a role.
Yeah.
You know they're doing something right.
Yeah, and like another like thing I liked about A Series of Unfortunate Events is basically like, so I have like severe anxiety, and I love the fact that the show constantly has like bad things happening. So like it kind of helps me. Like I guess the reason why it comforts me a lot is because my mind's constantly like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And like you said, they do that, but they turn it into comedy. So it's comforting in that I'm like, if the worst thing happens, like they like can get through it, so I could probably get through it, kind of thing. So yeah, I just like that, especially like with like the first, I think it's the third episode, it is the reptile room, and they kind of meet Uncle Monty, and that's my favorite character. Because I like how he researches, and he does like a lot of stuff with like reptiles, especially snakes, which same, because I also do that. I like to research snakes and stuff. And like the way they use comedy to kind of, because Uncle Monty's very like punny. Yeah, he's eccentric and like punny. So he finds a snake and he calls it the incredibly deadly viper. But it's the most, like, I think he says it's like the friendliest snake on earth or something. Like the baby character, Sunny, like becomes friends.
He literally befriends
Yeah.
a giant snake.
And like, I think it's funny because like Count Olaf plays the assistant Stefano.
Yeah,
And like,
Stefano.
yeah. And like that you can tell he had fun with because of just
yeah.
like how he kept talking and like how he kept like the way he would talk and like, I don't know how to word, like just like his movements.
Like he was just
really
very stiff. Like he like just owned that part where it did actually feel like a different character.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines that Count Olaf ever said was he was bragging about his intelligence, and he's like, "I have an IQ of the upper double digits."
Yeah.
And it's like that. You know that means you're dumb, right? And he's like, he has no idea.
Yeah.
But that's still one of my favorite lines from the show.
I mean, I really do like the sets and everything, especially like special effects, especially for like something like Netflix.
They actually had the producer for the original movie, who actually did help with the set design. He was eventually fired. He was supposed to direct it. He's actually the one who made the show. The show is basically like his redemption of this was what I wanted to make initially that Paramount wouldn't take. So that's why a lot of the sets were similar to the movies, because it's actually the same set designer.
Cool. I didn't know that. Because like one of my favorite things about both the movie and the TV show was the sets and like the way they kind of like staged everything. And like another thing I like about it is the way the characters interact with each other is like a really weird and like robotic.
I wasn't too big a fan of that. I preferred it to be more natural like the movie, but I do understand it was more accurate to the book.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it translated very well to screen.
I think I only read like the book at least once.
I read the first book. I didn't read the rest.
I mean, like, I think I got to the point where you said like Olaf was like having the big party and everything. There was like one moment I remember in the book where he tried to marry.
Yeah.
Yes, that was just creepy.
Yeah, and as I was reading the book, I was like,
That's
this
that's
like,
in the
wait,
first
aren't-
two
I was
episodes,
like,
and it's very like, it's like in the TV show they like actually address how creepy it is, and like there's like a judge character who is kind of like in the audience, and she like realized like as the show goes on, she realizes that she was helping that, and she gets like really sad about it, and it's kind of like oof,
Played
like
by the
oof to
great
watch.
Joan Cusack.
Yeah.
I love her. And she was played by Catherine O'Hara in the original movie. And Catherine O'Hara actually comes back for the TV show in a different character role. So it's like, oh, that's actually really clever. We got one of the original actors to come back in a different role.
I
Yeah.
wonder, so I never seen the actual movie. Is there any like big differences?
The
Like, they've-
movie is only the first 3 books,
Yeah.
whereas
And tone-wise, it's quite different.
yeah, and then the TV show is literally every single book.
Okay.
Because there's 14 books, so it starts like at Mr. Poe's house, and then it ends on the island, which is a very like weird explanation to it. But that's like they jump to a bunch of different places.
I mean, not because I haven't read the books. So I think spoilers are. Is there anything that you wish they would have kept, or would have changed?
Honestly, they changed what they needed to for the final episodes because, from what I heard, the final book was very disappointing to fans.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the last half of the third season wasn't very good, but from what I heard from one of my friends who actually did read all the books, they said it was way better than the last book. They were like, it may not have been great, but it could have been worse. So.
Yeah, one thing I wish that they did was I wish they kept what was in the teapot like a secret. And then I think they added a lot more to the like secret organization than the books had because like they didn't have the spyglass in the books. Obviously didn't say what was in the teacup in the books. And the teacup is basically, it's like a sugar bowl.
Yeah, the sugar bowl.
Yeah, it's a sugar bowl, but it's like in the shape of a teacup. It's weird. And basically the people that the Baudelaire's parents were involved with, they were all fighting over that. So they lost it. And then Count Olaf is trying to get the fortune, but also the sugar bowl because it has something that he needs. But apparently it was like, in the end, they reveal that it's like medicine for a mushroom or something.
Yeah, it was weird.
And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of wish that they kept it where, like, in the books, they didn't say what was in.
Well, with the book is clearly the writer just didn't know what to put in, so they were like, sometimes you don't get answers in life.
Yeah.
But it's like, you just thought too far ahead, didn't you? You didn't think far enough ahead, did you? But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the show. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, does your love for comfort shows tend to clash with the critics or part of the critical part of the brain? Or
No, I just turn it off. Like, I don't know. Like, me, like, yeah, I can say myself a critic, and I can see like positive and negative things.
Well, we're on this show, so.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wait, we are? I'll walk out. But it's like one of those things where, I don't know, like, if I'm watching a show and I'm being like too nitpicky, it's like, okay, that's annoying. Like sometimes I just want to watch a show just to watch a show. And I get, like constructive criticism is a thing and all this stuff, and I will give constructive criticism if I watch something. But at the same time, if I really do like it, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna watch it, Some people, it's like, I don't want to be that annoying person if I watch it with somebody else and be like, oh, they're doing this wrong, doing this wrong, doing this wrong. And at that point, it's like, the other person's gonna look at me and be like, man, just get out. I'm trying to watch a show.
Yeah, that's usually the way I see it when it comes to these specific comfort shows. I don't care what anyone else says. I mean, I've seen Futurama was definitely critically praised, but I've met a few people who said, it's overrated or the animation's not very good. It's just I've literally had someone say it's a Simpsons ripoff, and I was like, it's from the same creator of The Simpsons, right? And then they just felt dumb.
I mean, like, when people say overrated, it's always that thing of like, okay, I mean.
But it's still.
Yeah, but when people say
it for a reason.
Yeah, it's like, you may consider overrated. I just feel like that's just a lazy excuse for saying like, okay, you don't like it or something like that.
I mean,
like if you cannot like it, but
like,
you know what I mean.
My thing is like I tend to look at things like critically, obviously, and because my point of view is you can like something but still kind of critique it, if that makes sense. So when people say it's overrated, I like to ask, well, why they think so.
All right. Well, tune in next week where we'll be talking about movies that we love but everyone hates.
Oh no.
This has been The Verdict. Thank you for watching.